Hello, and welcome to the City of Acaria. We are a tabletop RPG game using the rules of the apocalypse as well as some other special things kind of thrown in there. And we are based on a city that was built through the game. I'm sorry, did you say Street Magic? Something that we played for a couple of sessions and then fell in love with the city that we built. And so we decided to build an RPG game out of it. The city itself is set in a urban kind of modern day environment with mixed in a lot of kind of fantasy and supernatural elements. I'm Kay and I'm the GM.
Hey, I'm Izzy. I'm playing 62, who is an amphibian mad scientist with a trick or two up their sleeve.
Hey, I'm Van, and I play Ilburn. He's an awkward artist, and maybe also a low-key criminal.
Hi, I'm Cookie, sometimes Biscuit, Biscotti, other adjacent things. I play Silver Lucanto, who is the matriarch's middle child. Silver, being the middle child, obviously has some of that kind of awkward, where do I fit in? They've got friends in high places, and when I say friends, I mean siblings. And they are a bit reserved, also a bit easy to anger, and they have a very interesting notebook that they carry around with them.
Hello, I'm Mandy, and I play Tam. Tam is a cheery, good-hearted boy who also falls asleep at the drop of a hat, and whose dreams are more than they seem.
The story starts with a strange group of people gathered at a cafe. They're all in there for various reasons. Some of them are getting coffee, some of them are getting cupcakes. When suddenly a tree just sprouts from the pavement outside of the cafe.
That's not normal tree behavior.
Since they were mostly the only patrons inside the cafe, they walk outside to kind of have a look at this mysteriously appearing tree and hear the cafe owner also come outside and kind of have a angry outburst at the bakery owner nearby, whom he thinks is responsible for the tree and subsequent kind of destruction of his property.
So we told the old guy we'd help him, but actually, I just really want to know how to make a whole tree go out of nothing.
I don't even know how I got caught up in all of this. I mean, I was just there to get my sandwich.
The party then decides to kind of band together and go and investigate this bakery. And they head over there and speak to the family, as well as, in particular, a teenager who confesses that they bought a couple of crystals as a gift for the cafe owner's son. The teenager gives them directions to the store that he bought it from in Airy Fair.
I wasn't aware that Airy Fair sold such peculiar wares. How interesting.
The four of them then decide to head to Airy Fair the next day. They locate the store in question and meet Iris, the storekeeper, who sold the crystals to the teenager. Iris chats with them briefly about the kind of crystals that she sells and tells them that none of the things that she sells have the kind of power that is needed for a fully grown tree to manifest itself suddenly. The party also kind of wandered around the fair for a little bit, getting food and other kind of magical items, as well as a locked suitcase that they found at a kind of garage sale, which they then broke it open and found that it was possessed by a young female ghost named River.
I must admit, I didn't expect a ghost when I smashed that suitcase, even if I couldn't see her at first.
Silva and I couldn't even see River at first. I felt so bad.
River had no recollection of her past life or her time before being locked in a suitcase. and only remembers her name.
Also, River's now my roommate, which is pretty cool, except for the part where I wake up in the middle of the night and she's staring at me while also staring into the distance because she's a ghost who doesn't sleep. Yeah, that's a little bit less cool.
The party then decides to head back to the cafe again, but as they reach their destination, Justine, who is the owner of the lizard shop across the street, kind of beckons them in and reveals that she also has some sort of supernatural powers and tells them to try and find out more about River's past in order to free her from the chains that bind her to this plane. The group then leaves the lizard store and notices that a couple of keepers, the local guardsmen, has come by and are now standing guard by the tree.
Shit, keepers. I'm getting out of here.
The four of them kind of head into the cafe, have a quick chat about where they are and what they're doing.
I also spent some time sketching River. I thought it'd be helpful.
Tam attempts to talk to the cafe store owner's son, who the crystals were gifted to, but doesn't yield much.
You know, I really thought Mo and I could have a heart-to-heart moment. I could give him some advice about how to handle crushes, but teenagers, am I right?
Eventually, though, they notice that more keepers come by, as well as Edwina Lucanto, the younger sister of Silva. The two of them have a slightly antagonistic chat outside by the tree, as the keepers remove the tree and kind of dig up the crystal buried underneath.
It wouldn't have had to be so antagonistic if Edwina had just been more cooperative. Although I can imagine she would say the same thing.
Iris, the storekeeper, is also brought to the scene, and she confirms that the crystal is one of hers, but the magic itself has been kind of warped within the crystal. The party then decides to pay a visit to Mortuary Lane, the graveyard district. They head to the graveyard and pay a visit to Elena Lucanto's grave, Silva's mother. While they're there, Silva also talks about one of the urban legends that surround her grave, which is that if you roll the dice, which is placed in front of her grave, there is a chance that she is able to grant you some sort of luck. Tam tries their hand at it, and after feeling not much happen, they decide to venture deeper into the graveyard, into the older kind of parts of the graveyard. As they kind of go further in, Tam gets a feeling and is led to a collection of 3 grave sites with the names Petal, Jonah, and Priya. At the side of these graves, River, who is following along with them, seems to have some sort of bad reaction and ends up clutching her head. They decide to leave for now, since it's getting quite late.
It's 3 a.m. I'm done.
But as they exit from the graveyard, they bump into Zero, a novelist who has an obsession with Elena Lucanto, the matriarch, and he mentions that there has been some sort of strange feeling that he's been getting while he has been writing at Elena's gravesite.
If only a grave could get a restraining order.
That night, Tam, who has fallen asleep while with the group and has been taken back to Silver's house, has a dream about the new library that has been erected in the abandoned district. And that's it for our recap. Tune in to find out what happens next in the City of Acaria.